guys, welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, I am here, I am at home. I actually attended the regional. It's actually Monday now, so I attended the regional yesterday. I'm not too sure when this video is going out, but I managed to finish with a record of X-3 playing Magical Muskets, and I'm going to show you guys my list. But before I do, just give you a quick rundown of the regionals. So I think I played like Tenny Sword twice. I believe I played PK Brave a couple of times, played Virtual World, and I also played like Fluundaries as well as two PK Braves. So it was a 7-round regional, ladies and gents, and it went on for ages. I think we started at like 1 o'clock and we finished at like 7 p.m, which was crazy. Like, we was there for ages. So it was a long regional. We didn't actually get a lunch break, which was a little bit interesting because a lot of the players were tired, and most of my matchups went pretty well. I think the only issue was the 10U Sword matchup, especially with the huge monsters that I put on board, as well as the number of interactions that they have. I literally just couldn't get over it. I didn't draw the best, which kind of like played into their game plan, but nevertheless, that was most difficult matchup. Fluundaries in of itself was actually an easier matchup, mainly because I don't necessarily need to go into the extra deck, so I can just leave a normal summon monster on field and just use my spells and traps to control the game, which is what I did. I resolved Max a couple of times for like 3 or 4 cards, which was crazy, and I also Utopia doubled a couple of times, which was really interesting, especially with like the number of negations that normally are on board, and managing to pull off a Utopia OTK was crazy. So yeah, all in all, it was a good thing. And the most interesting thing I found, ladies and gents, was walking around the regionals. Because it was a local regional, it was actually in the city that I'm from, in the UK. There was a lot of people that I knew, and literally everybody was complaining about the format. Like, they were sick of Scythe, sick of Prank Kids Brave, sick of the Brave engine in of itself, sick of DPE. It was quite interesting to see so many people complaining. And the regional actually had about, I think it was 103 players, and by the end of it, there was only 63 players left. So literally like almost a third, if not more, people just dropped and literally just went home, didn't even hang around, just because I was so tired of seeing like Brave PK and whatnot. But anyway, ladies and gents, that's enough about me harping on. Let me show you the list that I used, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ladies and gents, so getting into the list, we had triple Magical Musketeer Caspar, searches your spells and traps, probably a mandatory 3 out of factors. There's no getting around that one. We also played triple Starfire. I think this is pretty standard for most lists. They always play 3 of each. She gets you a monster, you kind of need it. I decided to play double Doc. I like Doc. Doc is actually my favorite musketeer. I don't know why. I just like the fact that he can recur so much stuff out of the graveyard. So I did play 2 Doc just for the grind game, basically, because that's what I was trying to drag my opponent into. So yeah. And then for the one, I played 1 Kid Brave, 1 Calamity, and 1 Wild. Now, Calamity and Wild are not necessary, to be honest. Probably just Calamity. But I decided to play Wild because I wanted a second level 4 target in the deck for double or nothing, just in case it came up. And because you search in your deck so much, it's quite possible to be able to like sift through a few of these. The couple times when I had both of those in graveyard, obviously the double or nothing play wasn't viable, but in that instance, you can just grind with your spells or traps, especially when you've got Dark on the field. So that's why I played the 2 additional level 4s, basically, just in case I resolve Max and I can cheese out a quick OTK. For the Musket Spells and Traps, again, pretty standard. I played triple Cross Domination. This card is just crazy. The fact that you can just chain it in any phase is crazy. As well as being able to use it under Dark Ruler, because it has an additional effect to be able to reduce the attack and defense, which was something that I wasn't aware of until it turned up in the actual regional, which was interesting. So definitely a 3 of. She made effect negation, and the activation is once per turn, which is important to note because somebody tried to actually Griffin Rider, and I had to read Griffin Rider, and Griffin Rider negates the activation. So because it negated it, this became not a once per turn, basically, because I just had another one in hand, which enabled me to play for a board. So it's important to know that, ladies and gents. For the traps, for the Musket Traps, played triple Magical Musketeer Last Stand. You could drop this to 2, but I was fearing that Cyber's Outlich was going to be everywhere, basically, so I just went with the 3 instead. Again, that's up to your personal preference. Also went with Triple Desperado, just an easy pop. Nothing needs to be said about that, to be honest. And then finally, the MVP, Magical Musketeer Dancing Needle. I actually sided the second one just in case. Just deleting somebody's graveyard is crazy. Obviously, against certain decks on certain matchups like Flow and Rees, you probably side this out, to be honest. But most matchups can't deal with their graveyard just being diminished, especially with DPE as well as Dasher and Celestial being in the graveyard. This is the MVP, ladies and gents. MVP. Next, for the non-engine cards, we ran Double Phantasme. I had the third one in the side, came up a couple of times. I actually lost the game because of this, and it was actually my own fault. So the 10U Sword Soul match, they went into Monk to be able to start off their plays, and I forgot to chain it, which meant that I lost out on a draw, which is a bit of a rookie mistake. But it was the first game. I hadn't had a drink at that time. It was the first round of the regionals. I was like, oh my days, I forgot to chain it. But nevertheless, it's a bit of a draw engine. You could actually change this for talents, but I wanted a few more monsters in the main deck because I was playing such a low monster count. I just wanted a bit more presence. So the Double Phantasme seemed to work out, to be honest. And again, like I said, I sided the third. The other card, which was a bit of an MVP, was this thing right here. Alpha Master of Beasts. It actually forces a negation, believe it or not. Your opponent, once they read this, they realize they have to do something about it. And the fact that their special summon is not once per turn allows me to obviously get much bigger value out of the card. They either Veiler it and I beat over the Griffin Rider, or they don't Veiler it or interact with it and I bounce a card on my opponent's field back to the hand. And you can actually just keep it in hand, or if you want to kind of out the board, you can special summon it again and just attack over something. So definitely a viable card, ladies and gents. I did not side this out once, and whenever I did see it, actually allowed me to put my muskets on board without fear of them getting kind of like negated or blown up, basically. So definitely a viable card. Going second. And if you didn't know, ladies and gents, this is a bit of a heavy going second list, to be honest. I don't play any hand traps. Just because Magical Musketeer Max and the nature of their spells and traps just allow you to go second naturally. So I just thought, you know what, might as well just go in on going second. One Dogmatica Ecclesia and one Fleur de Lis. When I get to Nadir 7, I'll talk about the interaction, which is crazy. But yeah, one of each. Again, I just wanted to see a few more monsters that did stuff without me necessarily having to normal summon them. Next, for some non-engine spells, I played Triple Dark Ruler no more. Again, we're going second deck, so this is just literally a board wipe. Resolving Dark Ruler and then resolving Magical Musketeer Max, you more or less won the game, ladies and gents. It's not even a joke. You get that much value off it, it's just crazy. And the Dear Servant, ladies and gents, this was a bit of an MVP as well. Because your muskets chain after resolution, you can actually chain block your musket cards. So what I was doing was activating the Dear Servant in the column of a musket, getting the send, getting the search, and then I would go chain link 1 my Magical Musket, chain link 2 Entis to pop. And I had to interact with the Entis unless they had like a infinite impermanence or effect failure, and it proved to save a couple of my muskets, especially like Ghost Ogre being in the format. If they pop one of my Magical Muskets, I'm literally dead, ladies and gents, and it happened to me a couple of times during the regional. So being able to just chain block your muskets on resolution is just a fantastic feeling. So definitely a nice little tech. Then the Dear Servant as well as the Dogmatica package also puts a bit more damage on board, especially with Fleur de Lis. Being able to just boost the attack of the Dogmatica monsters. Next, for the one-offs, we played Upstart Goblin, Harpy's Feather Duster, Call by the Grave. These were easy side outs, to be honest. Yeah, just nothing more needs to be said about those. We also played one Raigeki, even though I could have played 3, one Monster Reborn, and the Double or Nothing. I pulled this off twice, ladies and gents. Absolutely crazy. I've seen a few lists that decide not to play this, and I think it's crazy. It is a bit of a brick if you do see it, but like I said, it's very rare that I do, and I think I'm playing a 42 card list or 41 quote unquote with Upstart Goblin, so definitely annoying if you do see it, but it's such a powerful play and it can steal games, which I did a couple of times, so definitely a viable strategy. And then for the traps, I played triple infinite impermanence, again, just to help break boards and to kind of like prevent some crucial plays on my opponent's turn if I feel like I'm not going to be able to play through their board. And I actually main decked the one red reboot mainly because I was thinking that Cyber's Outglitch would definitely be a thing, which it wasn't. Luckily, not many, well, at least against the players that I played, I didn't actually see it so much. So this was an easy side out, along with Core by the Grave and Raigeki, to be able to side in some of my side deck cards. Next, for the extra deck, ladies and gents, we played triple Magical Musketeer Max. This card is just stupid. If this resolves, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, getting so much value out of one card is just and especially when Into the Vrains comes out. I'm not too sure what set it's coming out in, but leave a comment in the comment section below if you know when it's coming out. But when that comes out, this is going to be a crazy card. Being able to just special summon a monster from your hand and immediately link summon and then get some value off it is just, it's silly basically. Definitely a 3 off. Next, for some utility, I played one liner, then I played the Nightmare package in Cerberus, Phoenix, as well as Unicorn. Yep, nothing needs to be said about those. Liner didn't come up as much as I wanted it to be honest. Dark would have been a little bit better, but I couldn't reliably make it, so I just opted not to play Dark. Next, for the Utopia stuff, we run double, 39 and Lightning. I only put these in just in case I run into a monster that I just need to beat over. Like, even if they made the Cybers at Ignista, unless they're making it with 6k attack, I could just make Lightning and just crash it, or just go for a Utopia double. So definitely a useful little package right there. And then finally, we played the two Nadir Servant targets, Entis as well as Wing Pegasus at Ignista. You could potentially change this out for another Entis, to be honest, but I found out that this was the best ratio. Again, it's just supplementing your engine. It's not something that's a mainstay, so I thought the utility of having the two different ones was better anyway. And then we played two Super Poly targets, ladies and gents, because I had Super Poly in the side. It didn't come up once, to be honest, so yeah. And then real quick, I'll go over my side deck. I actually put in Outlich the Mad Golden Lord, again, because I was fearing Cybers Outlich, which was in the room a lot, but talking to a few players at the regional, again, they said it's just not the best deck. It bricks a lot, so yeah. But anyway, didn't do that. I did side in this a lot, Token Collector, because of the Brave and the PK stuff. This was everywhere. And it's also another level 4 to help me go into Utopia double, which proved to be very interesting. So triple Token Collector, again, very powerful. Super Poly, I did side this in a couple of times. I just didn't see it, to be honest. Against PK Brave, I sided it in, but didn't see it. This would have just yeeted their board anyway, so yeah. Also ran triple evenly matched in the side. Oh, that's my second dancing needle, sorry. Triple evenly matched. I didn't actually side this in, to be honest. This could potentially be something else. Mainly because your spells and traps do a lot of the heavy lifting, especially last stand. It just negates spells and traps as a counter trap, which means it just shuts off a chain link, which I just think it's crazy. So I didn't actually really need to side this in, but it was there nonetheless. Again, powerful card. The main reason I put this in is because with the Brave engine, if I managed to bait out a lot of their interruption, I could evenly match and leave the token on board, because you can't banish the token face down. So that was my theory behind it, but I just never sided it in because I never really needed to be honest. So yeah, the matches that I probably would have wanted to see, I'd already lost anyway. So yeah, then we main deck, side deck the other Twin Twister, as well as the second Dancing Needle and the third Phantasme. Didn't side in Twin. I can't remember if I sided this in or not. I did side in the other Phantasme just because I wanted some draw power. Again, I wasn't playing Desires, mainly because I had double or nothing in the deck, so I didn't want to lose the chance of actually being able to OTK my opponent. And then I had the double Gadala. This was mainly for the Fluanderese matchup, which I did actually side in, but I didn't actually need it, again, mainly because I didn't need to go into my extra deck, which was the whole reason I kind of like ran with this deck. Because the extra deck was not necessary in order for me to play. As long as one of my monsters stuck on board, I could play, especially grinding with the spells and traps and getting value out of my monsters on field, was the reasoning behind it. So the Godala was nice. I didn't actually see it, to be honest. Yeah, I managed to beat Fluanderese without seeing it. But all in all, ladies and gents, my third regional of the season, which is crazy. I've been to like 3 in about 6 months now, which is crazy. So I'm starting to get a feel for them. I kind of know what to expect. I know it's going to be a long day. If you do go to a regional, ladies and gents, make sure you carry at least a couple of liters of water. You're going to need it, especially for the brain power, because it takes a lot of thought and a lot of grinding. Basically, you're there for hours, so being able to be on top of your game is very, very important. Hopefully we get a bit of a shift in the format. Literally everybody's complaining about it. I hate to beat a dead donkey, but it is kind of like the elephant in the room in the fact that not everybody's enjoying this format. In fact, more people than not are not enjoying the format, which is, it says that there needs to be a little bit of a change. So fingers crossed we get a ban list soon. Scythe gets absolutely scythed on the ban list, and we can actually proceed to play some proper Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyway, ladies and gents, that is it for me. Hopefully I will share some more adventures when I get to myself down to locals at some point this week. But anyway, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you do like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff. And I would definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.